Welcome everyone. I'm your presenter for today's webinar, Professor Ramakar Jha, a faculty for CAL's SFM module. And if you have any query, you can start putting it up, and we'll take one after another. इस पे हुआ है microphone mute. So if you have any query, as I said, you can put that, and we'll take one after another. In the meantime, till you comprehend about what queries you have to put across in today's session, we can precisely discuss about few tips, few exam taking tips, few preparation tips for your coming exam in the month of May. As far as SFM is concerned, it's a kind of a module in which you have a lot of practical questions. Some should come up in your exam, and one question, as we all know, would be from theory. But then you should be preparing almost more than 95% or 10% of volume. That means you should be preparing that much of a content up to 95, if not all 100%, because many people I know who make up a call on maybe preparing for 80%, and then be probably looking up to clearing within that, and then that means they pick and choose the topic. Now it's invariably been found that maybe there's a high chance that you might drop a topic or probably not be 100% prepared, and the question might pop up from there. So then the only you have is to fall back on your theory question, which even if you are well trained to write, and even if you cover all broader contents, then it still will not fetch you the amount of marks that you otherwise would get if you attempt your sum or the practical questions. Okay, so as I said, you should take out your time, plan your preparations to cover the entire content, then just be handpicking few subjects, a few broader areas. Okay, so I'm getting few queries. I'll try and address them one after another. And in the meantime, again, as I was saying, that while preparing for this exam, it's always better to club your preparations in some topics. Like for this topic on forex, it's always advisable to prepare it together with derivatives. That means first you should be doing derivatives and then do forex. The comprehension, the retention, the ease, the learning outcome, the objective is more achieved than otherwise. So if anyone who is attending here, if you're not gone through derivatives, then there could be some gap, and that could probably make you not understand few things better in this case. Okay. So we have a question here from Srishti Suri, currently answering the question, which says that we have to take an upfront premium of 2% of the forward amount purchased. The cost of the fund of the company is 10% per annum, and the rate of the corporate tax is 50. Ignore tax, compute profit loss to the company. We make if it hedges its risk. If the exchange rates, I'm not getting the whole question. Can I get this whole question? This is the whole question. Yeah, whenever any derivative contract is taken, whether it's a forward contract, which is over the counter, especially in case of forex trades, or whether it's a future contract on the exchange, there's always an upfront margin taken for confirming it. So when you're talking about futures contract, then so the currently answering question, is it all complete? This the company is considering. There's a query question that has come up again. Shrishti Suri is asking these questions. A company is considering hedging its foreign exchange rate risk. It has made a purchase on 1st of Jan 2008, for which it has to make a payment of 50,000 USD on September 30, 2008. Okay. The present rate is rupees. Now it can be purchased forward at 39. Okay. And September 30, 2008, it can be 42 per, the dollar is 42 when it wants to be exercised. So I think it's in continuation, the question. So the query that has been asked here is precisely in the sense that the forward now whenever you enter into a forward contract, the rate that the bank would enter into is the rate which is applicable to you. Okay. So when the spot rate that time was 40 and you enter into a contract at a forward of 39. Okay. So that is what is to be taken. Okay. So 39 is the rate at which 2% would be cost. If you're saying that we have taken 40 in place of 39, I need to probably see what was exact in that. If it's the same problem, then your query is the rate at which the forward rate is entered is the rate which is applicable. So if the rate of forward is 39, then 39 should be taken. Hope that addresses just his concern regarding this given solution that in student manual you have 39. And if the problem is taken 40, it should be 39 in that case, if it's the same problem. Because the rate, which is not spot at that time, the rate at which the forward contract is entered is the rate applicable to you. Although we might work upon saying that present that rate might be something, forward might be a premium discount, but whatever rate that is quoted as a forward contract is the one that you have that is applicable to you. Okay. So that was one query that has come across. From Shrishti. If there's anything else, then you can even list it out. But then if you're talking about this given problem, if it has been worked out in your video as 40, then that should be corrected to 39, because 39 is the rate which is at which you have purchased your forward contract. So that is what is applicable. Okay. So any other question that if anybody has, they can pop it up. We can address them. But in a going continuation, as I was talking about, that while preparing for your exam, there are a lot of requirement for you to learn how to manage time, specifically with your SFM module. It's very important that your first hour is very important, because normal tendency is to start slow, and if you eat up huge time in the very first hour of your preparation, then you might probably be fighting against time to finish your content. And if you don't attempt all, then you're not giving yourself the buffer of over and above the passing score. So first 1 hour is very important when you're preparing for the exam, that how you're preparing. And invariably, it's advisable that don't attempt the first question, which is mandatory in your exam, because that normally is on marks term is going to fetch you 20 marks, but then the effort that goes into might be equivalent to 16 marks question or 8 marks question, a part of that. So 3 hours exam, there are 6 questions to be attempted on average 30 minutes every question. You might probably be taking more than that. You might be taking 40 to 50 minutes to attempt your compulsory question. And if that is the first question you're trying, and you never know how quick the time would pass, and you might then be fast fighting against time to finish with the other part of the questions. So advisable is to do the 16 marks questions initially, keep a track of your time, keep on watching your clock watch, and make sure that you are able to take the pace in the very first hour, so that you can finish major content by the time you finish your exams. And while preparing for your exam, as I said, this topic forex should be only done once you've done your derivative. Similarly, if you're preparing security analysis, then dividend decisions should be immediately done. And then after that, budgeting should be done. And once budgeting is done, then you should be focusing on your leasing. Okay. And M&A can be off the flow. It can be at as one single topic that you can cover. Okay. A portfolio, maybe with that you can cover mutual funds. Okay. Security analysis. Before that, you can take financial markets, and maybe with mutual fund, after mutual fund, you can cover financial services that is provided. Okay. And bonds, since it's scattered across, it's covered as a fixed income security in T-bills as well as in security analysis. So that can be something which can be done together with security analysis. So you have to plan things. Unless until you plan your preparation, you'll always find concern with meeting the requirements. So forex should only be done once your derivative has been done. If you have done, then it's all fine. If not, then you should be doing it straight away. So there's one question again, okay, which has come across from Srishti. We have purchased USD quoted in Mumbai 45.91, 45.97. London GBP is for dollar 177, 1.7765, 1.7775, and 1 GBP is equal to Singapore dollar 3.1380, 3.1390. The requirement is to explain this concept again in this question. Now, what is this? Basically, a question on cross rate. As we all know that the market is quoting rupee against different currency, and if you have a requirement to quote two different currencies, two foreign currencies, then normally the cross rate is referred. Now, in Indian context, we have discussed that rupees are direct quoted. Now, direct quotation means the variable currency is home currency as compared to foreign currency. So, foreign currency is constant, wherein in international market, your home currency becomes constant. So, in London bank quotation that you're seeing, it's basically 1 GBP is constant and fluctuating is foreign currency. So, it's indirect quotation. And the only thing that changes in direct indirect that we have discussed is the maxim. That means if it's direct quoted, you buy low, sell high. If it's indirect quoted, you buy high, sell low. So from that point of view, you have to see, and then the cross rate has to be worked upon, which is whatever since the rupee to a dollar is known, and dollar to a GBP, rupee to a dollar is known, and dollar to GBP is known, and GBP to SDR is known. So you have to do multi levels of cross rates to arrive to rupee dollar quotations. Okay, so cross rate, refer the cross rate portion, arithmetics segment of your chapter. Okay, but yeah, you can expect some questions like this in your exam. So here we have that you have to purchase SGD, which is quoted rupee to a dollar, and London Bank we have GBP to a dollar, and then GBP to SGD. So you have to first convert. Okay, so cross rates has to be worked upon so that you get SGD to a rupee quotation. Now, if this quotation that you're saying in this question is meaning SGD, then it's fine. You have one SGD in Mumbai quoted to be 45. But if it's USD that you're quoting, then it has to be cross rates. I hope it's been addressed. If not, then please raise your query again. So talking about, I was talking about time management. As I said, the very first hour is important for you to see how you flow, how you start your exam, what all you're able to cover within that 1 hour would probably give you a kind of an indication if you're going to finish with your defined content or not. Okay, so attempt, as I said, advisable is that you should be attempting maybe not the compulsory question which many people start doing, because invariably it takes more time than otherwise. Okay, so the compulsory question of 20 marks where you have to answer 5 questions uh, would be taking more time, or maybe the effort is almost 80% to, although on marks front you're getting 4 marks, and the effort is almost 80% to what you otherwise do to fetch a 8 marks question. So advisable is to start with 16 marks question, uh, get a pace and get a momentum, or maybe when you're preparing, if you're someone who's not into answering or preparing by solving or answering questions, uh, or writing questions, then okay. So if you're not someone who's preparing by writing, because normally we don't expect that. So the way you have learned over your 20, 25 years of okay study, would normally you will be practicing that way, even if for appearing for this exam. So if you're not someone who's writing answers, then normally your speed of writing, your pace of appearing is longer, is slower. The pace is slower for the first hours when you start taking time and when you start fighting against time. So advisable is to start with 16 marks question and then gradually see and keep theory question as a backup question. But then you have to prepare them. So when you're preparing, then you have to list all theory questions. Now, when you're seeing such questions in Forex also, or whenever in SFM preparation, when you're attempting sums, it's advisable that you give references. Like supposingly, if you're doing a question and you know that it's a direct quote, so you have to underline and put direct quote, USD2, whatever. Okay. Or if it's a question on say security analysis, and if it's like cost of equity, then underline against that as KE or something. The way you have been referring to your formulas, the way you have been preparing for this subject. So that way you can then comprehend which formula to be used, uh, and that does help. So make your formula sheet separate. Whenever you come across any formula, make a note of it at your own, with your own okay books, and then refer them. So if there's any question from the audience that they want to submit, which we can address. So managing time is one of the key things. It's not always see, clearing exam is a skill, in the sense it's not that how you would only clear if you prepare the subject domain well. Okay, even if you have prepared your subject domain well, but then if you don't know how to take your exams properly, managing your times in your exams, time management would also not then fall in tune. So as I said, very important. The first hour, the first 1 hour is very important, where it sets the pace for your exam. So ideally, you should be picking the questions that you're comfortable with, pick the sums that you have practiced, and that way you should be proceeding. Okay. So any query, any question that the audience has to submit? Now, as I said, if you're referring this particular foreign exchange exposure and risk management portion, then you should be doing it only if you have done your derivatives appropriately first. So those who have not started with derivatives should do that. So start to addressing derivative segment before they come to Forex. I'm not able to see any questions which has been raised. So no questions. If any one of you have any kind of a query, any clarification from the videos that you have seen from this chapter, you'll definitely get a one complete question from this segment. So you should be looking out for that. It has been the trend. 16 to 20 marks is what normally has been coming from this segment. So generally, like preparing, as I said, when you want to prepare for this exam, time management is equally important. How you're preparing the subject is again equally important. As I said, that you should be preparing it in a planned way. Maybe if you're starting with security analysis, then do dividends and then follow it by capital budgeting before you do leverage, or if you're starting with derivatives and follow it immediately with forex. uh, Mutual portfolio has to be done first before you do mutual funds. And theory questions, there are certain topics which from which only you get theory questions, like we have it on from chapter 7, we have it from chapter 14, uh, and that has been talked of in the videos that you are reviewing, that you're seeing, which all type of questions have come. The most frequently asked questions has to be noted, and maybe you have to, again, when you're preparing theory, it's not that you have to remember everything. I said you should prepare theory because that is the backup for you if there is any question which comes, which is which you're not prepared, okay, or you're not confident on, then that's the only option that you have to fall back on theory. So the theory questions that we're talking of, you should remember to put in pointers basically when you're preparing. Just list out some pointers. That could be questions on swap, so just list out some pointers of that, and then the concept should be clear in the way that you should be able to then talk on that. You should be able to be writing certain okay, points around those pointers. So it's not that you should mug it up. The expectation is not that, and ideally, again, the expectation that you should be preparing well to do the sum questions, the practical questions, then to be doing the theory questions. Okay, so when you're attempting a sum question, and supposedly if it's a question on security analysis and there's a cost of equity that is talking of, then just underline and put K or RE, whichever you're referring it. Okay, K is what we have been using in our module. Or if it's like dividend for next term, then put D1. Or if it says D0, it's a dividend. Okay, and many questions have something that you want to work first before you can start solving. Okay, so then it's a kind of an add-on. So if you ideally see that, there could be like you could be asked to first find cost of equity before you can proceed further. You can be asked to find return on equity before you can proceed further. So just see the type of questions of late that have this paper has been termed to be the toughest that has been coming across. So that is something that you have to start doing. Okay, prepare, plan, attempt questions, put your remarks against that. Okay, and then subsequently you can look to finish things in time. So time management, 30 minutes. Effectively, it's 20-25 minutes a question, because the first question will take you longer than what is supposed to be. Okay, so 30 minutes if you are assigning for first question, maybe you'll be taking longer time for that. Okay. So I'm waiting for the audience to submit any questions that if they have in mind, and it might be with this topic, or even if it's with some other topic that you have been refreshing, if you want to address that. Do we have participants logged in? So any specific question, anything with your exams that you want to talk of? Just raise your questions, ask your submit your questions. So what you should be doing, you should be planning your preparation, as I said, in the flow, in the sequence, and managing time, practicing hard. There's no shortcut to working hard to achieve success. So you have to work hard, you have to put those hours, practice as many questions as possible. So if the audience has any question, they can submit. If anyone who is joining, we are In this session, I am your presenter, Professor Ramakar Jha, faculty for SFM module at CALS. And if there is any query regarding this topic for discussion today, which is Forex, foreign exchange exposure and risk management, if you have any question, any query, you can submit that and we'll address it. Or any query regarding your preparation for your exam, even that can be addressed. So in this particular topic, the broader things that we're talking of is so we're talking about foreign currency market in this subject, in this topic, which wherein broadly you need to know the participants, and then we're talking of exchange rate quotations and arithmetics, wherein you know direct, indirect calculations of that, cross rates, forecasting of foreign exchange rates, different exchange rate theories, purchasing power parity, or so we have 4-5 theories there that probably has to be understood. And then the foreign exchange derivatives, wherein I said if you're doing derivatives before attempting forex chapter, then you would have gone through, understood a lot of, and that's what the flow is. You would have gone through, understood the difference and between futures, forwards, how are the different, and in currency we get both of that to trade, and then options, swaps, and all that. And then there are a lot of risk management, risk associated with currency, which is transaction risk, translation risk, and your economic risk. So identifying those risks and then addressing those risks, how to eliminate those risks is where the hedging would come. So hedging currency risk is by taking a position, in keeping in mind what you're supposed to do in future. So if you're supposed to buy dollars in future, you buy dollar today. Why would you buy dollars in future? Because you're expecting some payouts. You want to pay your imports, so you're not sure what the dollar rates would be in future. So you want to safeguard that risk, and that can be done by doing a transaction in derivatives market, keeping in mind what you're expecting to do in coming years, coming times. So if you're expecting to sell dollars, then you'll sell today in derivatives. If you're expecting to buy dollars, you'll buy today in derivatives. Okay, so that's what hedging would be. Hedging is a process of minimizing your risk, trying to make the risk zero. So these are the broader, you say, 6 topics, okay, in this chapter. And definitely, as I said, you can expect a 16 marks question and one part of your theory question of 4 marks. So effectively, we're talking of 20 marks that can be expected from this chapter. So important from exams point of view, if you're preparing. So foreign currency market, what it is, over the phone market, who are the participants, okay, dealers, associations, banks, okay, corporates, and then different exchange quotation mechanism, direct, indirect, forward forecasting, okay, cross rates, interest rate differentials, all those stuff, and then some theories on foreign rate, okay, exchange rate theories of purchasing power parity. So so if there's any query regarding these topics, you can raise that. You can submit your questions, and we'll make an attempt to address them. But then the requirement would be that you should be attempting this chapter after your derivative is done. So once you have prepared your derivatives, then you should be addressing this, okay, Forex. So if you have any query, you can submit your questions. Predominantly, when you talk of forward contracts here, we're talking it as over-the-counter traded contracts, which normally is offered by bank and the dealer associations. Many of them have started trading futures now, since futures are tradable in currency. And options are again being used mostly with speculative focus in an Indian context, but then it's growing market. With every passing year, every passing day, you see a lot of participation in this market. So derivative, as we all know, was launched with the focus of being able to offer you product which could work like a clone in the sense of protection. So it's basically been launched as a kind of a hedging instrument. Okay, so hedging is something which is important as compared to speculative returns, or as compared to arbitrage opportunities in this market. So the question predominantly would be understanding different products in this market, which predominantly is our forward contracts, futures contracts, options, and swaps. And then to be in a position as a corporate, as an institution, as traders, to see what the risk is associated with your transactions, which can again be transaction related risk, or translation related risk, or economic related risk. And then to see how can you hedge those risks by taking a position in a derivative contract. Okay, so forex currency contract can be protected by taking a forward contract. It's a very active market. Long duration contracts are available. You can hedge your risk up to beyond a year also. So it's not that in the case of equity. In equity, you only have 3 months active contracts if you're talking of individual underlying. Okay, but then in currency market, you have forward contracts which can protect your risk up to a year. So even if you're foreseeing that you have a committed payout because you have imported some stuff and you are supposed to pay, even if it's a year down the line, you can protect your risk. And that's what most of the corporate does, which is involved with cross-border trades. So all company would do this activity. They want to protect their risk, manage their risk, control their risk. If there are things which is beyond their control, then the business gets affected because of that. So very huge market, very important topic from an exams point of view. But if somebody has not yet started preparing for it, I would advise you to do derivatives first before you do forex. And if somebody is preparing forex and not done derivatives, then you should stop this right now and then first do derivatives before you can do forex. Okay. So if somebody who has joined this forum, I'm expecting you to put submit your questions so that we can address. I'm awaiting the audience to submit their questions. For those who have joined this forum late, just in case if you have missed the pointers that you are trying to highlight on your preparation for May exam, is predominantly that you should have a planned approach to preparing this module, and which I said is interlinked in many cases, interlinked from topic in many cases, although the module has been planned in a way wherein the pre-learning of a given topic is covered before a topic has been addressed. So you will have derivatives covered before forex being addressed. But then when you're preparing it, then maybe you can skip in between chapters. You can first prepare derivative and then focus on forex. So if the audience has any questions, they can submit. We'll make an effort to discuss that. So the importance of time management, invariably it's been observed that what you do in the very first hour of your examination invariably determines your pace of your, because normally people are slow in that very first hour and then it's all catching up after that. So if in case you try and attempt questions that you're comfortable, the 16 marks questions fast, then the compulsory question that follows the sequence, it would always be a better time managing skills for your exam. And as we have been saying it throughout the preparation, if you are seeing the videos, that it's more important to focus on some questions, practical questions, than to probably looking for theory. But the theory should not be ignored. You should list them out, list it as pointers, then instead of like remembering things, it's better to put 5-10 points on which you want to write things across. And that should be a kind of a cushion or a safeguard option for you, just in case you come across a question which probably you could not prepare or you're not comfortable about, then you don't have any option than to attempt the theory questions. Because you'll have only one option. One is compulsory, and then you have to answer 5 out of the remaining 6, of which one would be a complete theory question. That is how it has come in SFM. In other subjects, you have theory questions coming in between as one part of some subpart of some questions. Or okay, in SFM, it has been a practice where there would be one question at the last, which should be all complete theory, and within that you also get options. So if supposedly it so happens that your question, practical question, you're not sure, some question you're not sure, and you want to be covering your 95 and above or 100% of your paper, then you need to fall back on theory. Then, and in theory, if you get an internal option, then you can attempt those. So writing around, so even if you attempt a theory question of 4 marks, you're writing 2 to 3 pages. Even if you're attempting a 16 marks questions, you're attempting 2 to 3 pages per part. And even if you're doing a 4 marks compulsory question, which is then again you're doing 2 to 3 pages. So invariably the effort that you're putting is equivalent. The schemes of marking could probably be giving you more reward for your effort as compared to otherwise. So 16 marks questions are important. Attempt them first before you actually go for attempting your compulsory question or your theory question. Okay, but then they should not be ignored and should be prepared. The way of preparation for some questions should be that when you are seeing those questions, practicing those questions, then comprehend the question, read it in complete. And while comprehension can make your notes in the question straight away. Like if the question says cost of equity, then put a remark and put KE there. Okay, if the question says dividend for this term, then we know it's a D0. So put a D0 there, because that is how we have been using formulas and you have been referring them on a going way. So it becomes easier for you to then recollect what is to be solved. And many of the questions, which is with capital budgeting, you have time value of money, which becomes important. Although you have done that in your previous level of preparation, but then people tend to ignore that at this stage, final preparation. So you need to revisit that present value annuity factors, or present value interest rate factors, or future value annuity factors, future value present value factors. Present value annuity and interest factors are important. So many times you'll have that in the question, which can help you to solve that question. Okay. Otherwise, then you should know the formulation of it by using simple calculator to solve it. Okay. So as I said, start with derivative, do forex, that covers major portion. Do security analysis. Before that, cover financial services and all money market and all fixed income securities. So do securities analysis. Maybe focus more on fixed income in security analysis than in equity. Because question-wise in exams, that is how it would probably be planned. And then once you're done security analysis, then you should immediately do dividend issuance. Okay, and then maybe even if there is no gap, then subsequently, or maybe after a break, maybe if you're preparing multiple subjects together, then you should be attempting capital budgeting. And once capital budgeting is done, then you should be doing leasing. Okay, that is how you should be preparing. So planning is important, equally important than your effort that you put, hard work that you put in your preparation. And time management when you are preparing for exams. So be well prepared. Have your own reference formula sheet. So whenever you're coming across a new formula, you should be noting that on the sheet and keeping it handy, ready to revise as and when needed. Okay. So that is something that you should always do. And for time management, I have been insisting time and again that you should be attempting 16 marks question. The first 1 hour of your exam is very important. That sets the tone. and invariably it has been observed that people are slower in that 1 hour, and that because of that, then they're catching up with time, and that would be the major factor deciding whether you're able to attempt all 100% or you're going to fall short on that. Okay, and it's advisable that you should be attempting, if not all 100%, more than 90-95% of your paper, because then that gives you kind of cushion. Because even if you're not sure on some question, you have been attempting that, you have been solving it, knowing that it's somewhere wrong and you might not get the full marks, but in between, in your attempt, at some stages, you would be uh, doing things right. So you will be getting some marks for that stages, some portions of that question. So it's not that you'll be getting zero. So it's always advisable to attempt the entire paper, all 6 questions. Ideally, all some questions, all practical questions, then theory. But if you feel that there's some practical question which you have not prepared, then theory should be included. So it should always be there in your list of preparation. And for that, you should only be making an effort of putting some pointers. Okay. So if there's any query, if the audience has any kind of a question, they can submit it. I'm looking for audience to submit their questions, and so that we can discuss those questions. So if you have any question, please submit them so that we can address it. Any question, if it's related with this topic, or is any general question that you want me to address, any tips, any concern, anything that you have been coming across while you're preparing for this module that you feel can be discussed and can help you, will also be welcomed. Any other topic on which you have any query can be addressed. I'm available for this duration, so if you have any query, just submit it, and I'll make an effort to address them. Although the topic assigned for today was Forex, foreign exchange exposure risk management. But then, if you are having any query regarding any other topic from this module, you can even address that, and or else general query regarding preparation for the exam. So anyone who is joining this forum, I'm your presenter for today, Professor Ramakar Jha, for this module of SFM from CALS. And I'm expecting you to submit your questions and queries that you have for me to address. So it seems that people who are logged in, there's no query being put up. So either we can then close it, or if there's anything that you want me to address, I can address it. So let me know if you're logged in, that whether you want to, if you have any query, submit that, or just put up a remark and we can then call off this webinar. Fine, thank you for attending this session, and please look forward for similar sessions, and if you have any queries, please list them out, and it's only for your help that we are seeing if you can find a kind of forum or time wherein you can come with your queries and you can make an attempt to address that. Okay, so thank you for today joining for this session.